everybody. How are you doing on this lovely, now sunny Wednesday? It was really grim when I woke up, and then suddenly, like magic, as the day's gone on, the sun has appeared. How are you doing? I am live today, as I am every Wednesday, talking about marketing matters. Well, marketing and why it matters. So I'm Charlotte Wibberley. I am a Facebook ads, funnels, launch marketing strategist, and I am here every single Wednesday so that we can have a coffee and a catch up and talk all things about marketing for sure, but also running a business, scaling a business, creating a business that gives you freedom, and everything in between. Now, today I'm really excited because I have someone fabulous joining me. I have the amazing Charli Turner, who is the owner of The Virtual Success. She's an amazing VA. She's also part of my team, and an essential part of my team at that, because she is absolutely kick-ass and badass when it comes to getting your systems and your processes in place. Now, I appreciate this doesn't always sound sexy, but trust me, as someone that has been through this process with Charli, there is something super sexy about getting all this stuff in order and making sure that you have that whole back end of your business sorted so that you can always grow and scale in a way. And that if you guys know me, this is what I'm always talking live. Charli, hopefully you're sitting there and actually ready to go live with me. There she is! I always have that panic every single week that I'm going to click that button and there's not going to be anyone there, and I'm going to have to go, alrighty now, what do I talk about?
Yeah, and it kind of froze here, and I was looking at a black screen thinking,
Did it work? Did it not work? I have no idea.
what did I do?
Welcome, Charli. How are you doing today?
Thank you, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad at all.
Although I heard your comment about the sunshine and thought, I don't know what you're saying.
Genuinely, well, now I've said that, it's now obviously clouded over here in Essex, whereas I was getting being beautiful. But it was horrible walking to school this morning, and then like about an hour ago the sun came out and I thought, do you know what, it's not so bad.
Yeah, no. Well, that's nice for you. It's still freezing here, so I'm very British and very annoyed.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry to hear that. So obviously I've done a little bit of an intro to the guys about your fabulous self and what you're doing.
Thank you.
But it'd be great kind of if you could just do a quick 2 minutes about, I mean, it can be longer than 2 minutes or it can be shorter than 2 minutes, but a little and who you are and kind of what we're talking about today.
Yeah, so I noticed that you said that systems and processes wasn't sexy to everybody, so I'm not going to take any offence to that. But my real passion is to make things work for people so that it's consistent. Yeah. My background is as a group operations manager, working with a huge range of people, you know, right from youngsters from 15, 16 up to top level chefs who are perhaps a little bit harder to manage. Like do their own thing, as do some of the kids, and getting systems in place so that everybody knows what they're supposed to do, and making sure that that really leads into then what the customer experience is. And if you can manage what the customer experience is, you can manage that expectation. So while it's not sexy, and I get that, particularly on a tick box side of things, and it isn't, it's really, really essential for your business to have it. And if you can get those leads and you can make it consistent, yeah, then everything else in your business becomes so much easier, from your staff, from the team, when you're onboarding people, when you're onboarding clients, when you're taking them through the process, everything should just work. And I have a real hit by a bus mantra in that you should be able to pick up what anybody's doing at any point in a business.
Yeah, I love that. When I saw
run with it
through live, I was like, oh yeah. There was a lady that I used to work with in the VA industry, called Kathy Thorsby, and she was always on about having a hit by bus plan. So if she fell under, yeah, what would her business?
Yeah, completely. And if you can do that, you can manage those expectations, and that's such a big part of achieving a great customer experience. You know, we're not talking about things being okay and things being all right, but having that expectation from a client that goes, okay, yeah, that was good, and every time reaching above it and smashing it. And that's then what makes your marketing so much easier, so that you can stand out there. You've got that social proof, you've got the evidence that you do what you say you do.
Yeah.
And then it also gives you the time to focus on the world of online marketing, which I think if we're really honest as business owners, and I know that I fail at this personally, is the two things that go out the window when we're busy is one, driving business and keeping our social media online. And that is my absolute failing. But then also the side that we go, okay, let's write down what we do and who we are, so that when we bring somebody in, because this business is going to grow and be fabulous and amazing, that we can just put them into place, that it then doesn't take a huge amount more of our time, you know, really getting them on board.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, honestly, time that I've really considered, well, if I take it back a step, in my corporate days, we always had a controls manual. So every process within that corporation, anything we ever did, there was our like documented process, and we had links and all of that. And I guess it's one of those things that small business or an online business, you just don't think you need it until you need it.
And I think as well, there's always so much stuff in those controls manuals and operations manuals that they kind of, in your head, that it's the stuff that sits on the shelf and never gets touched and gathers dust. And I say to people that if it's relevant to your business and its core, if you've got a business Bible, that people should be using it every day. Yeah. You know, you can put stuff in there like, okay, what is our communication process? When do we go back to clients? What's our touch point when they get in touch with us? On our social media, have we got an out of office message that pings back and says, do you know what? It's 8 p.m. We're not back until the morning. Yeah. So that you manage those expectations. So then you haven't got people going, oh, they don't care about me. They're not interested in my business and I'll look elsewhere, or any of that nonsense, you know? And I just think, yeah, it's such a vital thing and it's an easy thing. Yeah. But it's not, it doesn't seem important, particularly not when you're starting out and you're really trying to grow that business and focus on where you get to. And then you end up backpedaling, which makes it even more of a challenge.
And certainly, that's so true. Certainly I found that my sort of, I guess, pinch point came with the processes when I was starting to grow my team. And suddenly you go, well, how can I expect these other people within the business to know the way that I things, or you know, talking about that business Bible, all of the essential parts of how I interact with clients or whatever else, if it's in my head and it's not in a documented process that people can easily access.
And then you're in such a rock and a hard place as well, because you're bringing somebody on board because your business has done what you want it to and grow, and you want that person to come in and give you an extra 50 hours in a day. Ideal, I know. But then you've got to spend your time training that person in the stuff that's in your head to get it. I mean, and really what you need is just a person that you can download it to, that puts it in a format, or you spend the time putting it in a format and downloading it out of your head, and just have this Bible.
Yeah,
absolutely. This magic guide.
And I mean, touch wood that nobody gets hit by a bus, but equally, you know, thinking about my story, last year I was off sick for 3 months and couldn't do any work, and at that point, if I had not got systems or processes in place for other people to step in, I would have been deep shit.
Yeah, and I think just even if it's not like as drastic as hit by a bus or being out of your business for three months, but being able to go on holiday. Mm-hmm. Knowing that you don't have to be there in your business every day, that you don't have to be, not keeping on top of your staff, because that's the wrong way to come about it, but checking in and making sure they know what they're doing, knowing that they know what you're meant to be doing, and then following that through with the client, so that the client doesn't really, okay, there's a different name on the bottom of the email, but nothing for them changes, nothing for that customer really shifts.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you say that there's a particular point in somebody's business journey where they should be implementing stuff, or is this one of those things that they actually should think about right at the beginning?
I think it's something that you should really start thinking about right at the beginning, even if it's not, you know, an all singing, all dancing, fantastic document, that it's something that you start writing down and documenting and processing, even if it's just for your own benefit, or it's a flow chart on the wall, you know, getting that customer journey down. So what does that look like? When do we respond to customers? Do we have office hours? What does our social media plan look like? What's our voice? Who's our ideal client? Where do we find them? All of those things that I think as business owners and entrepreneurs that we do, and we've got them, and they're in here, but there's so much other stuff in here that even if you just had a book where you started writing your ideas down to develop that flowchart. So a lead comes in, where it goes, where it then follows through, what those touch points are, from getting them from start, from start to finish, and actually then onboarding them. What's the process of onboarding? What does your service level agreement look like, or your terms of business? Is it up to date? Have you got the right email addresses in there, phone numbers in there? Because when something then goes wrong, if it does go wrong, there's nothing more frustrating than trying to then backpedal and somebody say, well, I rang this number and it was wrong, or your service level agreement doesn't give me this. And you're thinking, but in my head, I know that's what I meant to do.
Yeah.
And if you've got it written down right from the start, you've always got a point to refer back to and update, so it doesn't become this great big elephant in the room.
Yeah, absolutely that. And I think, there is that guidance there, or almost that thing in black and white that goes, any deviation from this, well, my instructions were clear. This is what it was written down inside of that Bible. So this is for all of the business team, whether it's 2 of you or 20 or 40 of you, to sort of use as your go-to document on a daily basis, as you say.
Yeah, and as you get busier and things start happening and there's more things going on, that you've got something that reminds you what you did. And obviously my brain is process driven. That's a part of who I am. That's probably never going to leave me. But to be able to look at just a flow chart, even a simple, draw it out. Yeah. What are the stages they go to, so that then you can tick off and make sure that you've done everything that covers you as well.
Yeah.
Not just about the customer and the client and the person that you're onboarding, that you as a business, that everything is in place, that you've got copies of insurances for new starters, or that you've given them a contract, that the contract has been signed, that you know what the process is for invoicing and payments, that all of that stuff's been agreed as well, that then gives you a bit more support.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it becomes less thought driven and more, I mean, it's not automatic, because we're not automatic, but then you can start thinking about whether there are systems that you can bring in. I know you love Zapier, so whether there's a Zap that you can put in place to start automating that process through for you. And it's just, I think it's taking the time, and it doesn't have to cost money either.
No.
The systems and the processes doesn't have to be expensive. Yeah, okay, I can sit and do them for you, and I've probably done myself a massive disservice there. You see, marketing fail. Process sorted.
Get yourself a process for that, my love.
Yeah, mustn't I? Yeah, write it down. This is what you don't say.
No, but I think, joking aside from that point, my next sort of question or point to discuss was that I think a lot of people don't do this stuff because, one, they don't know where to start, and two, in our heads, and I know this because this was me, because it's in my head and it feels like this massive beast, you go, there's no way I can even start out in any way that's going to make sense, so I just won't do it. So that is where people like you that actually are process and ops minded can pull that stuff out and help people, because I think otherwise lots of people are like, shelve it, God, I haven't got the brain.
Yeah, and it can be something that you just have that conversation about, and get those really, like, the headings in place to start doing it and to put it down in a cohesive order. Do a brain dump into a document, get that stuff in place, because if you can work out what your systems and processes are and who you are as a business, you can then also work out where your marketing sits. So who are you on Instagram? What's your voice on Instagram? Is it different to LinkedIn? Probably, hopefully it is. And follow that through. So how many times a week are we going to post? What does our marketing plan look like? Because most people will say, I know I need a marketing plan, but that's one of your processes. That's your inherent system that's built into your business that we don't know about. I know at the end of the month, or people will know, they've got to check their accounts, they've got to do their invoicing, they've got to make sure their sales and the numbers balance. Again, that's another process. It's another system that's in place. We've just got to make sure that it's documented and that it's there to be used and accessed.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously this is something that's like butter for you. You're just like, like, oh, but this comes naturally to you, and like I say, genuinely, I think this is why this conversation works so well, because this is not, and that's why I work with Charli, because she's amazing at this stuff. But is there, like, in terms of how you were going to sit down with a client and get this stuff out of their head, I guess the 2 questions I've got are, one, is there a natural place to start, as in there a particular process that you go, well, what's your process for blah? And two, there are a system or a document or a piece of software that you would recommend for people to use to kind of get this stuff into?
So in terms of documents and a place to have it, it just needs to be somewhere that's accessible. And I think ultimately now we're all really good, aren't we, in using like Google Drive so that it can be a shared folder, OneDrive, Dropbox, anything like that, so that it's not sitting on somebody's computer somewhere collecting dust. That then when you bring team members in, it becomes a live document and it's somebody that everybody lives and breathes. And if something changes, you're not the person that updates it. It can be anybody in that team that deals with that side of the process. And in terms of where you start, you just, if I'm going to have a conversation with somebody, it's about understanding what their business is and how it looks like, who their customers are, where they sit, what tech they use, so that you start to pull this stuff out, what a list of services are, you know, what do you actually do as a business, and then who does it, who sits where within the team, if you've got a team, what's the structure, or if you're outsourced, who those people are and what their roles are, and then a reporting structure that sits within it. And it sounds like a big, huge and terrifying process, and it's really hard to break it down in steps, but it's about pulling in all the aspects of your business, and without giving away awfully my USP and failing at every point of my own marketing plan. Yes, there's a form, and yes, there's a process, and yes, there's a system, but I'm really sorry. You'll have to let me know and I'll tell you more.
Absolutely. And like I say, genuinely, I think one of the big barriers to people doing this is that they don't know where to start with it. So it's like anything within your business. If you've got another head to help you see it, because we as business can be far too close to it all to actually be able to,
yeah.
Hi Matt, hello. Then getting all of that stuff out of our head, or having someone to pull that out of our head, is completely valuable. Really.
Yeah, and I think if you think back to when we started doing your stuff, and when we pulled those processes in, so that we had, you know, a Team CW Bible, that it was really just a conversation.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't meant to be anything that was really high pressured. It was just you and I going, and me going, okay, so what about this? And that's what I do, is it's pull all the information out, and then it appears in this magic document that goes, okay, that makes sense now.
It does magically appear in documents. For us, it's Asana. In Asana, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, but even things like Asana, if you're using something like that, you know, a project management system, a team management system where you've got Asana can be a great place to start documenting that information and those processes, and making sure that what goes into Asana makes sense.
Yeah.
That when you're setting deadlines for people, that they're logical, that they're fair, that you're not putting that pressure on. Yeah, and just, you're a business, aren't you? And the easiest way to be a business and be professional, and it sounds so simple, is just to have that consistency, that way that we come across to the rest of the world, because we know it inherently, but how do we explain it and how do we show it? And make sure, particularly if you're in a world where you're outsourcing to a VA, that they buy into that ethos of your company.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that they've got that, and then you can really look at focusing on fit and the person being right. And I've always said to people that I've worked with that I would rather train somebody to learn the ins and outs than try and get them to fit with the business and be the right ethos and the right person.
Yeah,
because you can't train that stuff.
No, I was just having this conversation on the other day about the fact that it's got to be the right personality and work ethic and relationship, because most things can be trained, can be taught.
Yeah, you can learn it, and if you've got that book that you can give to somebody when they start, that says, okay, here's your Asana, here's your onboarding project in Asana. I mean, that's what you did for me right when I started.
Yeah.
And it was really easy because everything was in there.
Yeah, absolutely, because I think I just wanted to know that whoever I was bringing everybody else can do their job in a better way.
Yeah, and that's how then as well you make sure that your business is protected.
Yes.
That you've not only got the right people in place, but you've also got the right things in place to protect you.
Yeah.
You know, that somebody doesn't come along and steal your USP, and that your customers and your clients know what they're going to get time and time again. So even if you're selling an off-the-shelf product or an off-the-shelf package that somebody buys and comes back for once or twice, that if they recommend you to somebody, that person that they recommend you to then gets the same thing. Then that means that those leads will turn into sales, and that you will get people coming back time and time again, because they know that what they're going to get comes, it's right, it's delivered, and it's delivered on time. And if you can manage that expectation of what they're expecting to happen with touch points and a really simple process, then you'll get the nice feedback, you'll get the excellent customer experience, and they'll recommend you to people. Absolutely. And then your social medias, your proof, your word of mouth, all of that then grows your business and then links into what somebody like you does, which is far beyond me. You know, the strategy stuff and the side where you coach those business owners and you take them through that growth stage and be able to take on a team as well. You know, that's how you get there, I think.
But as you say, that's with the foundations, and like almost to me, that's the core framework is in place then.
Yeah, I think so. At least having an idea of what your framework looks like.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You know, and if you do want to bring somebody on, you've got to be able to give them something for them to learn from, because it can't be from you, because you haven't got the time, which then means that you will consistently think, I'll do it myself, I'll pick this up, oh, I'll just do that, it'll take me 5 minutes. And then you've got a person sitting there, which is fine if it's an hourly paid person and you've outsourced, but if you employ somebody and bring them in, they're sitting having a lovely time twiddling their thick fingers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've still got all of that pressure and none of the headspace you wanted.
Well, and I think I can speak from personal experience to say that also we retain it all in our heads, and then when you have actually even just got it out and gone blah and got somebody else to organise it, you feel less heavy because you know it.
Yeah, and you can refer back to it, so you haven't got to remember exactly what you did every single time.
Yeah, or try and explain scratch every single person that you're talking to.
Yeah, always a bonus.
Not that I'm guilty of that at all. I'm definitely not.
Yeah, not that any of us ever do it in our own lives.
No way. I'm obviously incredibly organised at all times. That would never happen.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Is there anything else, Charlie? Any sort of golden nuggets or other things that people need to think about when they're looking at perhaps maybe some of the people watching this, whether live or later, oh my God, I don't have any of this stuff in place. Is there anything that or any advice you could give them about getting started that we haven't talked about?
I think just the easiest thing is to follow kind of the KISS principle. You know, keep it simple, stupid. Don't try and create this massive operating manual that's going to be 60 documents and you're going to put absolutely everything into it. Start with a live document that you work on as you go through. So every time you onboard a client, every time you get a lead, write down what you did. When you get an email or you send a proposal, note down what those touch points are and what you can do to make it easier. And you'll learn every single time. And use that preparation so that you don't then fall down later.
Yeah.
You know, and just have this document. So, okay, I've sent an invoice. What did it look like? Where did I send it from? Who did it go to? What are my payment plan terms? And how do I know when it's been paid?
Yeah.
Pull those in, start a live document, start capturing stuff as you go along. Because then before you know it, probably your business processes will start to be written down. And then you can work on streamlining them or making them better or improving them and bringing in things like Zaps and you're making sure that your Asana captures everything and that everybody knows what's going on.
That's such great advice. Almost like just to build it going without even doing it, you'll have it there.
Yeah, build it like you built your business, you know, step by step.
Yeah. Sorry, I was writing down the KISS thing. I'm going to definitely use it in some sort of marketing term later. You've been saying, let's all kiss or something, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a good one. You know me, I do like a nice little a little sales or something.
Like
Yeah.
a little something.
Yeah, a little something, a little random acronym somewhere.
It always helps. Right day.
Yeah.
Charlie, thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like this one's been a proper important one, and I reckon there'll be people, like I say, there that are sitting now going, or equally, whew, got it in place. But if people want to get back to you and find out more about what you do or how to help them, where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, pop me a message across on here, or you can head over to my website, thevirtualsuccess.co.uk, and pop me a message through there. And yeah, just get in touch. I'm more than happy to have a chat with anybody and offer advice where I can as well. So it's not always a big sales process with me.
Yeah.
I'd rather see people grow and succeed.
Fabulous. Well, look, thanks for being amazing.
Thank you.
Today.
Well, thank you very much for having me on.
Not at all. And yeah, have a good rest of your Wednesday. Hope the weather cheers up.
Thank you. Take care.
See you later. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.